Alright everyone, welcome back to another Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes video with Fat Phil. And I do want to talk about Conquest. I know this is not everybody's favorite topic, but I do think it's important to cover Conquest here. So I want to go over to Conquest. I'm not going to go into some of the, there's lots of people kind of talking about what teams to use for what feats. I want to talk about something I saw today that I think really kind of, it's just another nail in the coffin in terms of, Capital Games kind of not really being the best with their communication or messing up some of the feats here. So one right here that we saw is win without using a Galactic Legend. This is actually Jedi Sith unaligned Force user. That it's not just winning without using a Galactic Legend. You can't have those other things. It's not worded well at all. And that's a problem because when these things aren't worded, you've wasted a battle. And then you've got to go and redo it. Like, it really does impact players. I don't think they fully appreciate just how many Conquest battles some players are actually able to do that. Unless you're doing refreshes, you're not going to be able to, those battles make a difference. The other one here that I saw that's kind of frustrating is this one right here. Win 40 battles with Marin, Mother Talzin, and Old Daka. They need to survive, which is different than the win 20 battles with Trip Zero and BT1 in your squad, where they just have to be in the team and then you can kill them, right? It doesn't matter. This one, they can die off here. This, they need to survive. And you think, oh, that's not as big of a deal. But as you get later down the road, it limits some of those teams where you throw them with a Galactic Legend like Lord Vader or Kylo Ren, and you know that they're going to die off, and you don't care because that your real, the real bulk of what you want done is just getting them to survive. So I don't know. That left a bad taste in my mouth yet again. This is another example of, we already have some crazy feats in here. You're talking about Tuskens, Cal Kestis, Seer Junda, Marin. I mean, it's just, again, it's a lot of feats for stuff that people don't have access to, and at least make it a little bit more obtainable for a common player. So again, I'm not going to go into all the different sector feats, but I am going to show you guys a few of the teams that you can use to get some of these feats, right? So let's dive right in. Let's go into our squads here. So I made a little Conquest tab where I was talking about this, but before we get into that, you know the drill. We need to pay homage to our king, Wampa. If you guys want to see Wampa hit Relic 8 live on stream, all you guys need to do is get this channel to 5,000 subscribers. If we hit 5,000 subscribers, there will be a special live stream where we take Wampa all the way from Relic 5 to Relic 8. We'll do some other fun stuff on the stream. I don't know what yet because we haven't gotten there, but when we get there, I'll make sure everybody has those details and hopefully have it at a time that everyone can love and appreciate taking our king to Relic 8. Alright, so let's get into this Conquest here. So for the unaligned Force user feat, this is the squad that I'm using. Using the 3 Kylos, the 9th Sister, and Starkiller. That was one that I just kind of picked out that I was like, oh, this works for me. Again, the unaligned Force user tag is actually, if you have Inquisitors, you could just run Inquisitors. But there's a couple other things that you could do here. So there's also you could run the Rays, right? Let's say you have Galactic Legends Ray. You could run something like the Rays with, Ben Solo and Commander Tano. You could run Visas Mar. I mean, you could run them mixed together too. But, you could run, Visas Mar in here, Commander Luke, Maul, whatever unaligned Force users you have, throw them in a team. If you have one of the GLs, it's a lot easier. So I did want to show those two examples. As for that unaligned Force user, it's really not going to be as hard as it sounds without fully Relic Inquisitors, that you can get it done without them just fine, as long as you've got the Kylo or Rey. Now, if you don't have those, yeah, you might be SOL, but again, if you're doing hard mode Conquest, you probably have at least one of these Galactic Legends or an Inquisitor squad. That's normally my gut assumption. So this is my Night Sisters. I've been pretty fortunate that I invested in Night Sisters. My Marin is gear 8. No Zetas. Just, garbage stuff on her. We'll see. I've gotten some wins with this team. The Hardest part will be ensuring that they're all alive because, my Asajj, she can ramp up her damage really, really well. So you've got to make sure that you're timing those revives, having everybody alive before you do that last kill. So something to just watch out for there. But this is the team I'm planning on that I'm going to try here. Worst case scenario, I'm doing something like this, where I'll bench Asajj. I'm going to keep Zombie and with Lord Vader here. I would prefer to do this with Supreme Leader Kylo Ren because he can give Zombie a permataunt. But Supreme Leader Kylo Ren is with the unaligned Force users, so maybe down the road, if I still need this feat, we'll use it with Kylo. But I'll probably find a way to use these guys and cheese it because again, we really need to get that feat done. It's something that you're just gonna have to buck up and do. So we'll find a way to get these feats out of the way, whether it's on a Datacron node somewhere. We need to get these Night Sisters their wins. Trip and BT's won. So you got to find a way. So here's the squad that I was actually using with them, where I had my Emperor Palpatine, Mara Jade, and in Sector 1, I'm fast enough that I can outrun everything. And if I can't outrun it, as long as they kill BT or Trip Zero, it doesn't matter. And then Mara Jade and Palpatine will basically just run a train on everyone else on the board. So that's a way that you can do this. Again, you could... I say this all the time, but just throw them with like a Galactic Legend. Just throw your Galactic Legend in here. General Grievous could probably work. If you need to throw a little bit of gear on them, throw a little bit of gear on them. You don't need to go crazy, right? Like you see, I went gear 8, level 85 for my Marin. I'm not going to the moon with that. It's just enough to try and get me over the line to maybe survive a hit or two. Find one of the best pieces of advice. Find a node that you can farm, even if it's not a Datacron node. Yes, farming Datacrons is best case scenario. That's what you want to do. But if for some reason you can't complete that node, your next best thing is finding the easiest node possible and using those teams on that. Tuskens, this is the last one. So again, my account's a little bit farther along. Hopefully I find someplace in Sector 1 that I can cheese these guys. I don't know if I did that in Sector 1 or not. I'll have to kind of see how that pans out. But the nice thing is I only need 20 wins. So what my thought process here will be is, you only need the 20 wins. So I can get 4 wins in a day very easily. So if I leave myself 5 days of Conquest, give myself enough time to get some of these data discs, right? If I can get more data discs, that'll either give me the max health, defense, protection up, anything like that. I'll hopefully be in a better position to try and get those. We'll see. Again, I don't know if I can hit the max crate here. I'm going to at least give it a shot. I'm going to try and see where I'm ending up. But I'll say this, right? I wanted to maybe give my, some of my initial reaction here, right? Some of the feats, and then kind of talk about how I feel about this particular Conquest. Overall, guys, I'm not the... How do I say this without being, I definitely think this Conquest is something that, if I pull up the feats here, let me pull this up. Whoa, I'm trying to pull this up so you guys can see it here. Okay. Let's switch to screen capture there. So here are the feats, right? When you're looking through this, there's some that pop out that I just really, really am not a fan of. Like, I don't mind this momentum. I don't mind the purge. That's fine with me. Dr. Aphra, whatever, right? That is what it is. She's been in the game a little bit. Admiral Trench, I have a huge problem with. He's only been out for 3 conquests. Cal Kestis is another one. I just think he's too new, right? The Seer, Cal Kestis, I feel like they're a little bit too new to simply start putting them in here and like you've got to get them, and get them, surviving. That's a pretty... If it's just win with them in the squad, it's not a big deal. It's when it's surviving that there's a whole nother aspect to keeping them alive. And then, down here in the globals, the Marin feat definitely leaves a bad taste in my mouth. I'm not saying that this is oh, this is whales only, right? Like there's ways around these things, as I showed you guys. I mean, I'm just gonna have to skip this feat here, right? With defeating enemies with Callanseer, like that's just not happening. So for me, I've got to hope that I can get some Tusken kills, or win with full battles of Tuskens, and then hope I can get enough of these other feats that, you know, will be close. But yeah, overall, I'm a little bit disappointed that I'm disappointed that my roster isn't going to probably be able to get the max crate. And I'm disappointed that it's because it's all new characters. I was really hoping, I think they purposefully did this, where too many people probably got Darth Malgus because it was Old Republic and Sith Empire and everybody built them. So they're like, oh, how can we ensure that that's not going to happen again? Well, let's make none of these feats about the, you know, Sith Empire fleet. So I don't know. I just like, how is this a sector feat, right? How is this a boss feat in Sector 4 when this should be like a win 40 battles with, you know, like that's kind of where I'm coming from. Again, I don't think we should all get this ship right away. I'm not arguing that. Of the two instances of would I rather this be easier or rather it be harder, I'd rather it be harder for people to get this ship because I don't want this flooding, you know, the GACs everywhere. Especially some of the lower players who you're going to go up against people who are going to get this ship somehow, right? Like, we all know that's what's going to end up happening here. So these are the feats. I mean, you guys can see those ones over there a little bit. I mean, I'm just, you know, it is what it is, right? You know, it's the game that we play. So my final thoughts here, guys. It's possible if you've got a roster that can handle it. If not, look, get as far as you can. I think even Arnold's, you know, his final, he kind of put this in a video that he put out, that box 6 will get, as long as you buy all of the shards you can, you get box 6 here, you're going to be able to get a 7-star ship after 6 conquests. If you don't believe me, here's Admiral Trench. I currently have 255 shards from his, when he was the conquest reward. Excuse me, sorry my eyes are closing, it's pretty late at night here. So anyway, yeah, so I got my, you know, which if you do the math here, right, so I have 60, so you can get 65 of the Fury class interceptor, and then you can buy 20 each time. So I ended up with 85 shards each of those conquests. So I need 75 more shards here. Well, I have 3 conquests to go. As long as I get box 6, I will get 25 shards of Admiral Trench each time, which will get me my 7-star conquest character, and the same will go for this Fury class interceptor. If you buy the Conquest Pass, right, so you buy the pass, you'll get an additional 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then you'll get 20 additional shards of the Fury class interceptor if you buy that pass. So to put that in perspective, you buy this pass and you get max crate. Just say you can get max crate and you buy the pass. You can get you can skip buying all the Fury class shards from like the nodes, right? Like you don't have to worry about that. If you buy this pass and you get box 6 here every single time, you will be 15 shards short of I think, right? No, if you buy the pass and you buy the shards, you'll need to buy, I think, 5 shards, right? We need to buy 5, or we need to buy all of them. And you get the pass, that's 60 shards. That'll be enough. I think you can do that enough times that you'll be able to get the Fury class interceptor to 7-star. So if you buy this pass, right, if you want to do that, you buy the pass, and you're able to get to box 6, I think you should have enough. You might need to grab these 2. Again, I'm not sure how many leftovers you'll need. But you'll be able to get the Fury class interceptor in these 3 conquests. If you're like me, you're not going to buy the pass, probably not going to be hitting max crate. You're looking at getting a Fury class interceptor in 6 conquests, which at the end of the day probably isn't unreasonable for when I'd be able to even get Leviathan based on what the requirements are going to end up being. But that's the video, guys. Let me know what your thoughts are. How do you feel about this conquest? Hopefully that's a little bit informative. I'm not, deep diving each sector. I just wanted to kind of give my thoughts on the conquest that's going on. As always, smash that subscribe button, leave likes, and leave comments, guys. I'm going to show you. Let's see if I can get him to come over here. Come here, Pip. Everybody wants to see you. Everybody's always asking to see him because I'm constantly yelling at him. So here's Pippin. He is the bane of my existence. I'm just kidding. I love this little guy. Actually, he's huge. Love you, buddy. I love all you guys. May the force be with you. I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.